Hi, I'm that dude with the beard, and today I'll be reviewing one of my personal favorite childhood movies. Now I'm going to explain something to you. When I was a kid, I did not take a liking to many dark films, but I did enjoy movies like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, uh, Beetlejuice. Wait a minute, weren't those two Tim Burton movies? Oh, they were. And the other Tim Burton movie I absolutely adored as a kid and still do is Batman, 1989. Now I'm going to start off by saying this. This is a movie that is extremely entertaining, but it does not have a very big plot. It is not a very psychological movie like Nolan's films have turned Batman into. Instead, it is an entertainment movie that I think really does show a lot more promise than Nolan's films. Now, I'm not going to say that his Burtons aren't entertaining, but it's far more detective-oriented. Batman's more of a detective, but in this one, he's a more action-packed hero. He's more mysterious, and he's by far a much more enigmatic character, as opposed to Nolan's, who makes him its own character, but he feels a little weird to me. But I'm going to skip the whole Nolan versus Batman movie cliche that I'm sure everybody has heard of, so I'm going to skip to my rating systems, and I'm going to say right now, I start off with a brief synopsis, I go to the characters, and finally I'm going to do the setting of the movie. Why do I do setting last? Because typically that's the least important of them all. Alright, so the story is pretty simple here. The synopsis, while it is brief, I'm going to go a little far on this one. Not to say it's going to be brief, but it's going to be a synopsis. Batman has been around in the public eye. Well, not in the public eye. He's been around. He's captured a lot of criminals. He's stopped a lot of crime. But people will regard him as an urban legend. A young reporter, Vicky Vale, played by Kim Basinger, is trying to find a story to cover about him. Unfortunately, she can't find anybody. That is until she meets Bruce Wayne, who, as you might have known, is the only millionaire in Gotham. Besides that point, Batman has been trying to stop this mob for a while now. And one of his targets is a man called Jack Napier. Now, Jack Napier is the Joker, and I'll get to that later. And Batman tries to save Jack Napier from falling into acid. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, and Jack becomes the Joker. The movie goes on, and it does do some pretty hilarious moments. It has some pretty action-packed moments. But in the end, Batman kills the Joker. But ultimately, it's the Joker that has the last laugh. I'm going to admit, the plot doesn't get very deep. It's not a deep plot line. It doesn't have a very deep emotions. However, what it does do is it conveys the story in a very good way. It takes the characters and their emotions and shows us what they're feeling and how they enact what they're feeling through subtle hints in the story. It's a great way to convey it, and at the same time it feels a very, 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 very easy to follow movie. Now for the characters. I'm only going to go through the ones that I seem to think important. This is Michael Keaton, Kim Basinger, and the Joker. Now, I'll be starting with Kim Basinger's character because she really needs to get out of the way. And the thing is, she's not really much of a character. Her entire, I think her entire script is her screaming. And to be fair, it's not a good thing when your only female lead screams the entire time. Believe me, I find it very annoying when a female character is supposed to be this incredibly macho man. And she just screams. This is the same thing with a female character. Like, it really makes no sense as to why you would give a very good actress a role where she just screams. And I say this because it's important. You can't have a character like this. So, out of all the characters, she's the weakest. When it comes to the Joker, Jack Nicholson does a very creepy but very funny version. He's a kind of a Joker that you expect from the animated series from the 90s. He's creepy, he has one-liners, and he's very interesting. He's a very interesting character. Now, in this version, they connected Jack Napier to the death of Bruce's parents, which in a way has gotten a lot of people very angry because that's not how it is in the comics. But the thing is, I think the writers in both Tim Burton wanted it to be more like a plot twist, like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And that does work in the sense of this movie. As a character, the Joker is not very three-dimensional. He isn't a three-dimensional character. His only motivation for actually wanting to be evil is his face is gone. And the woman he loves doesn't really look at him anymore. Like, he's a handsome guy. He beats her, and he really doesn't like the way he looks. He covers his face up in makeup at one point, like to make it look more like a face. Unfortunately, it fails because Vicky Vale is smart enough to throw water on him. I don't know why, but whatever. The funny thing is about this Joker in particular is that it doesn't really go far into why he does these things. Like, his motivation is just because Batman's in the spotlight. I should be in the spotlight too. And then that's it. I honestly have no idea why this movie is so thrilling with the Joker, but for me, Jack Nicholson does a stellar performance because he's able to mix that energetic side with that very demented humor slash, kind of evilness that you can't get from other versions. As for Michael Keaton's Batman and Bruce Wayne, he's not a good Bruce Wayne to an extent. I mean, he plays Bruce Wayne as kind of, not as like a playboy, like sort of a sympathetic character. And he does become sympathetic as the movie goes on, because we see how he reacts to his parents' graves, at his parents' gravesite, and we feel like, oh, well, that is sad. But when he becomes Batman, he becomes a totally different person. He doesn't talk. He's completely mysterious. He's very enigmatic, and that's what makes him a great Batman. To me, Batman should be mysterious, because I don't like it when a movie shows Batman going through all his training, learning all his stuff, before we even see him fighting crime. That, to me, ruins Batman. Like, in the comics, I can understand. I like him in the comics, too, but that's because, even then, they didn't show us everything. That's what I liked about it. This Batman didn't have, a lot of the gadgets, either. Like, he does have a Batarang, he does have the, Batmobile, which is amazing, but that's about it, really. I mean, he does have the Bat plane, and he does have a computer, but that's about it, really. And for me, that's kind of a letdown, because he should have more gadgets. But to be fair, I will admit, just to see a Batman that is more mysterious, who doesn't talk a whole lot, and delivers the line, "I'm Batman," on screen deserves immediate praise from me. My final category is the setting, and this is very simple. The Gotham is very dark, and that makes a very good contrast to the previous Batman series, which was in fact the 60s version, which was very lighthearted, very campy. This one is very dark, and one of the biggest things that makes it dark for me is in the first scene where these two parents are trying to guide their son to, I'm not sure where, but there's a prostitute that actually ends up hitting up on the young boy. And that, to me, shows that this place is terrible. It's a terrible place to raise a family, to go anywhere. It's a very bad place. And to me, not only is that a big deal, but when a lot of the things that happen throughout the movie, like when people stop using their cosmetics, they become extremely erratic, extremely paranoid. And that just can't be from, losing their hair products. It's got to be from fear of the world around them. And in Gotham, you can tell this perpetually dark place is never good. It's never a safe place. Now, if I was reviewing this on nostalgia, I would give it a 5 out of 5. But because there's some problems, like the fact that Batman kills, or the plot has some holes in it, I still have to admit it's a 4 out of 5 for me. It's an entertaining movie. It's a good movie, but it's not a deep, intricate movie. And this is why I'm giving that movie that score. So, Batman 1989 is a 5 out of 5. Hope to see you guys next time, because I'll be reviewing another superhero movie. And I'll reveal it next time.